can't take the WNBA serious anymore. They hate their only cash cow in Caitlin Clark. This is the only league on earth where the players have dated each other. Now they fined Caitlin Clark and Rhyne Howard $30 apiece for just jawing at each other on the court.
The WNBA has once again revealed a troubling double standard, this time by fining Caitlin Clark for the so-called offense of standing her ground during a heated exchange with Atlanta Dream's Rhyne Howard. In a league that claims to empower strong women, it seems that strength is only acceptable under certain conditions that shift depending on the player involved. This incident highlights not just the league's inconsistent approach to discipline, but a deeper issue, a pattern of penalizing the passion and fire that make basketball exciting, while turning a blind eye to the real challenges facing women's basketball.
Be the big talked about moment, Rhyne Howard, Caitlin Clark, jawing back and forth. But there's another example, right? Clark in that moment saying, I'm not scared of you. I'm not afraid. Then giving her a sarcastic.
Tensions came to a head during the Indiana Fever's highly anticipated rematch against the Atlanta Dream, a true revenge game fueled by emotion and high stakes. Just 2 days earlier, the Fever had suffered a tough loss to Atlanta, and Thursday night's clash at State Farm Arena was their shot at redemption. With a crowd of 17,044 fans, many of whom had paid top dollar to see Caitlin Clark in action, the atmosphere was electric. The stage was perfectly set for a showdown, and both teams were ready to battle for dominance.
What was that about, man? She was saying, don't do that again. But I'm trying to figure out why she gets so mad. I guess because of the push right there. Kind of like a get off me a little bit. But she's holding it right there. Look at the hand checking, right? We got the hand checking going on the hip. Putting it on the chest. How you hand checking? You can't hand check. This isn't the 80s. What are we doing? Hold on, man. She's hand checking right here. Then Caitlin trying to get by, right? But her hand's still there. Her hand's still there. She up here hand checking. Yeah, get up off me.
What unfolded on the court was more than just a thrilling display of competitive basketball. It was a window into the evolving politics of the WNBA. In the midst of Indiana's hard-fought 81-76 victory, Caitlin Clark found herself in a face-to-face confrontation with Atlanta's Rhyne Howard, a charged moment that would come to symbolize not only the intensity of the game but the league's response to raw competitive spirit. The exchange was everything you'd expect from two elite athletes locked in a high-stakes battle, fierce, emotional, and essential to the very soul of the sport. It was basketball at its purest, and yet, the league's reaction told a different story.
I don't know what it is about giving Caitlin Clark foul calls that has the referee so averse, but calling more on her. And basketball is so mental. Like when you get into someone's head, it can really mess the rest of their game up. It can mess the momentum up.
Rhyne Howard, seemingly intent on asserting dominance and perhaps testing the composure of the league's most talked about rookie, initiated contact that pushed the limits of standard basketball play. But rather than retreat or appeal to the officials, Caitlin Clark did what she's always done. She stood her ground. It was a moment that embodied the grit and resolve that have come to define her career. Face-to-face with Howard, Clark locked eyes and delivered a line that captured her unshakable mentality. "I'm not scared of you." What should have been celebrated as a shining example of competitive fire was instead met with controversy, revealing, once again, the complicated dynamics surrounding star power, toughness, and who gets to show it in today's WNBA.
In case you're wondering what Caitlin Clark said just there was, "I'm not scared of you." She's going to have to wear a hard hat this season. I mean, seriously. The league is going to try to take her out in every game.
If you're enjoying this, please subscribe. That's the kind of energy the moment demanded, because the crowd absolutely erupted. What they had just witnessed was the raw, unfiltered intensity that makes professional sports truly unforgettable. Two elite athletes, Caitlin Clark and Rhyne Howard, locked in a fierce standoff. Neither backed down. This was basketball at its purest, where pride, passion, and performance collide. It was the kind of moment that births rivalries, fuels fan loyalty, and elevates the entire league. But in today's WNBA, standing your ground apparently comes at a cost. What followed perfectly encapsulates the league's troubling approach to discipline and player management. Rather than embracing Clark's response as a textbook example of competitive fire, a hallmark of any great athlete, the league chose to penalize her. A $30 fine may be nominal on paper, but the message it sends is anything but small. This decision raises a fundamental question. What does the WNBA really want from its players? The league positions itself as a champion of strong, independent women, athletes who are fearless, resilient, and unapologetically competitive. Its marketing celebrates empowerment, mental toughness, and a refusal to be intimidated. Yet when one of its brightest stars displays all of those qualities in a real-time, high-stakes moment, the reaction is not support or celebration, but punishment.
I did really enjoy seeing the return of Trash Talk Caitlin Clark, because sometimes people forget, like, it's a fun little extra add-on of her game. She and Rhyne Howard got into it a bit early, where Rhyne Howard was like, "You're in Atlanta."
The timing of this punishment is especially telling. Caitlin Clark has endured an entire season of increasingly aggressive treatment from opponents, many of whom seem more focused on testing her toughness than actually playing basketball. From Angel Reese's ongoing social media jabs to the frequent hard fouls and on-court confrontations, Clark has consistently responded with composure, professionalism, and restraint. But the moment she dares to speak up, not with violence, not with retaliation, but with words, the league decides she's gone too far. This kind of selective enforcement sets a troubling precedent for how the WNBA chooses to police competitive intensity. For months, the league has stood by as social media feuds, passive-aggressive comments, and carefully crafted shade have circulated unchecked. Players are free to spend entire seasons posting cryptic messages and undermining each other's reputations without consequence. But a single, honest statement made in the heat of a high-stakes game? That, apparently, warrants immediate financial discipline. This contradiction raises uncomfortable questions about where the league draws the line and who gets penalized for crossing it.
Are petitioning for the All-Star game to not be held in Indiana because it's clearly not safe. There's a petition for Dave Portnoy to never be able to attend WNBA games. There is a petition for Caitlin Clark to be arrested. I'm not joking when I say this. Arrested. This is something that has also gone viral on social media. And I'm only bringing this up because the WNBA pays attention to what's going on social media. So if they're paying attention to it, I'm following what the league is saying. Like what the precedents that the league is setting, I'm following that because I'm covering the league. If they're going to pay attention to viral things on social media, I guess we have to.
The most troubling part of this situation isn't the fine itself. It's what the fine represents in the broader context of WNBA discipline. The league has revealed a disturbing pattern of inconsistent enforcement, where consequences appear to depend more on who is involved than on what actually occurred. This creates a two-tiered system of justice, one that undermines the WNBA's credibility and leaves both players and fans unclear about what behavior is truly acceptable. Just look at the contrast between how the league responded to Caitlin Clark's direct, in-game exchange with Rhyne Howard and how it has handled other ongoing controversies. Angel Reese, for instance, has spent months waging a sustained campaign against Clark, using social media to rehash old plays, stoke tension, and maintain a cycle of manufactured drama. And yet, this behavior has gone completely unchecked. No fines, no warnings, and no visible concern from league officials about its impact on the game's image. The message this sends is unmistakable. Passive-aggressive behavior, online posturing, and social media theatrics are acceptable, even encouraged. But straightforward, face-to-face communication during the course of play? That crosses the line. This backward approach to discipline values surface-level harmony over authentic competition. It tells players they are better off airing grievances online than resolving them on the court, further distancing the league from the essence of what makes professional sports great: real emotions, real rivalries, and real respect earned through direct, honest competition.
With that, and that's competing. That's good basketball. That's fine. Howard wanted the challenge. I loved it. I love them. You just can't let, people play Clark like they're bumping her at the line of scrimmage and not call a foul. You got to call those fouls. Get them in foul trouble. But that's why Stephanie White wants to get her off the ball some too. I've seen a lot of fans complain about that. That's one of the reasons, to free her up from that. Also to, just get things moving in general. And then she can command the offense down the stretch and crunch.
This double standard becomes even more troubling when we consider its impact on young fans watching the league. What message are we sending to aspiring basketball players when we find someone for standing up for themselves, yet turn a blind eye to months of online hostility and manufactured drama? The takeaway is clear and deeply concerning. That direct confrontation is somehow worse than behind-the-scenes manipulation, and that honest, in-the-moment communication is more problematic than passive-aggressive campaigns aimed at undermining reputations. This incident isn't an isolated misstep. It's part of a broader pattern in how the WNBA has handled Caitlin Clark throughout the season. The league seems torn between two competing instincts: protecting its biggest star and maintaining the appearance of impartiality. The result is a muddled, inconsistent approach that often ends up punishing Clark for the very traits, grit, composure, and competitive fire, that have fueled her success. When Clark absorbs flagrant fouls and clear instances of targeted physicality, the league's response is often framed around player safety or the suitability of certain environments for competition. But when she finally chooses to speak up, using words, not actions, to stand her ground, she's met with a fine. It creates an impossible dynamic. Clark is expected to absorb physical and mental pressure in silence, with no room to respond in kind. That's not just unfair, it's unsustainable, and it sends the wrong message about what strength, leadership, and professionalism look like in women's sports.